Alright, so we are going to talk about aquatic toxicology, especially we'll focus on its medical relevance later. Yes, so with this we will look at the introduction to aquatic toxicology, adverse effects of toxic agents, sublethal and other effects too. Um, then we chip in all the medical relevance and then relation to other sciences. There as a links to chemistry, biochemistry, and ecology, and also sources of aquatic toxicity. Um, the toxic effects of aquatic life, and then regulation and prevention, and finally the conclusion. So the background, one thing that you have to realize is that um, aquatic toxicology has to do with the study of natural and human-made chemicals, um, how they affect the aquatic organisms and ecosystems. So the scopes, it examines impacts of certain subcellular levels to the entire ecosystem that is caused by these aquatic toxins or toxicants, and it includes both the natural and anthropogenic toxic agents, and focuses on pollutions, bioaccumulation, and ecological risks. The importance, it helps assess pollution effects on water bodies, and it's in developing regulations for environmental protection. And with the sub-organism level, there's a disruption in enzyme activity, the induction or inhibition, and this affects the cellular functions and metabolism. And with the supraorganism level, it alters species genotype and phenotype, and it impacts the population abundance and health. It causes physiological stress and ecological imbalances. The overall impact is it disrupts food chains and biodiversity and leads to long-term ecosystem degradation. The pharmacokinetics, or the fate of the toxins in aquatic organisms, it's quite um, simple, from absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Absorption, because there's uptake whether through the gills of fish, the skin of, or ingestion of contaminated water or food. Distribution, which has to do with the transport of toxins via blood to organs like the liver, kidney, the brain, and metabolism or biotransformation, where there is detoxification or activation of chemicals by the liver. Excretion, elimination through the gills, feces, urine, or mucous secretions. And when it comes to toxicodynamics, that's where the biological effects of toxins, what the toxins does to the body. There could be cellular damage, oxidative stress, neurotoxicity, and with the impact on aquatic life, there is bioaccumulation and biomagnification in the food chain, and this increases mortality, um, developmental defects, and also habitat degradation. Okay, so with the medical relevance of aquatic toxicology, one thing that you have to realize is that whether waterborne disease, heavy metal toxicity, cyanotoxins, pesticide and herbicide exposure, pharmaceutical contamination, and biotoxins from marine life, all these could lead to detrimental effects right from the biomagnification. And then um, what happens when there's a we deal with a particular toxin, but you may not be able to know when, if a patient um, had maybe consumed maybe tetrodotoxin from pufferfish, or ciguatoxin from reef fish, or maybe cetatoxin from shellfish poisoning, and this causes neurological and gastrointestinal symptoms. So well, depending on what the patient presents with, so you could go for for organophosphate poisoning, of course, atropine plus polydoxin, and you give your supportive care with the IV fluids, respiratory support, and symptomatic treatment for the toxic exposure, and antibiotics or antiparasites for mucopolyrine or maybe schistosomiasis, and then activated charcoal for injection of some of the toxins, and chelating therapy to make help with the heavy metals, whether dimecapro for arsenic or EDTA for lead, and then DMSA for mercury, and with the monoclonal antibodies too. They are still under research for certain toxin neutralizations too. Alright, so back to the sublethal and other effects. Realize there could be behavioral changes of these aquatic species or train feeding, migration, predation avoidance, and predation avoidance too. With growth impairment, we reduce size and developmental delays. Reproductive disruptions to low fertility could happen, and abnormal offspring. With other effects, detoxification and tissue damage can occur. Changes in enzyme activity and organ structure. There's increased tumors and genetic mutations, and also higher incidence of cancers and malformations, species occurrence and variations. And with that, there could be population shifts and loss of biodiversity. So the ecological consequences is very serious. It weakens the species survival and it alters aquatic food webs and ecosystem balance. Well, it's so much related to other sciences like chemistry, biochemistry. We talk about all these, the relative stability, molecular structure of toxicants and the rest, and its biotransformation in biochemistry. Or ecology, population dynamics in the aquatic world and its species interactions, and remember the bioaccumulation, biomagnification, how it affects the predators and even human life too when they are being consumed like fish or organisms within the aquatic life being consumed. So why does it matter? Understanding these links helps predict toxicity effects and develop pollution control strategies. Alright, so with the sources of aquatic toxicity, there is water pollution, and that's where you have your industrial waste, domestic waste, and water chemical discharge, and heavy metals from industrial waste, detergents, pharmaceuticals, microplastics for domestic waste, and with the heavy metals, like we can think of whether mercury, which affects the nervous system, and usually bioaccumulates in fish. That's for lead. Mercury also is toxic and causes Minamata disease, and arsenic carcinogenic also disrupts cellular function. For organic compounds, you can think of pesticides, herbicides. They kill aquatic organisms, disrupt food chains, oil spills, suffocate marine life, and damage coral reefs. And with the environmental impact, it alters water quality, harms biodiversity, and disrupts ecosystem. Alright, so like I talked about the bioaccumulation, where the toxic substance accumulates in the fish and the marine organisms, and biomagnification increases of the food chain that's affecting the predators and the humans. So reproductive disruptions to because of the toxic effects that could occur. That's altering the hormone balance, leading to low fertility and birth defects. So it causes sex reversal and population decline in aquatic species. So with the growth inhibition and habitat loss, it stunts development in fish, amphibians, and invertebrates too, and population destroys breeding grounds for coral reefs and wetlands too. With the long-term consequences, there's declining fish populations, ecosystem, and collapse and also loss of biodiversity. Okay, so why does this matter when it comes to regulation and prevention? It ensures clean water, protects biodiversity, and promotes sustainable aquatic ecosystems. And these control measures or regulatory preventive measures includes pollution control measures like reducing industrial discharge through cleaner production methods, monitor water quality to detect contaminants early, and then waste management or waste treatment management to proper waste water treatment before releasing into aquatic system, safe disposal and recycling of hazardous chemicals, and the environmental policies and legislation or strict regulation on chemical use, for example, banning of toxic pesticides, and international agreements to protect marine and freshwater ecosystem. So in conclusion, aquatic ecosystem or the aquatic toxicology's environmental risks helps identify and assess the impact of pollutants on water ecosystems, and it aids in preventing ecological damage and species loss. So its role in conservation, it helps in understanding toxicity effects, guides um, this guides habitat protection efforts to and supports restoration of polluted water bodies. So the regulations and policies is essential for controlling pollution and safeguarding biodiversity, and it ensures sustainable water resources for future generations. So the final thought with this is that when you protect aquatic life, this actually means protecting the entire planet. Right? Thank you.